All right, welcome to week 12. We're going to talk about inventory management. And this is something that every business every business has inventory of some sort. Service industry businesses, lawyers, accountants, that type of stuff, you might not have inventory, but you can think more along the lines of your time, your resources, like resource allocation as your inventory. But let's start off with service-based businesses. The majority of it's probably just going to be office supplies, and your inventory management probably consists of like your office admin checking it once a week, something like that. Probably not very critical because you can just run to the store if you need something, overnight it, that type of stuff. There might be some things that are important to you, and I have no idea what that could be, but maybe letterhead, business cards, toner for your fax machine. I don't know if anybody even still uses fax machines these days, but things that you need to just run your business on a day-to-day basis. But again, there's probably very little that's actually critical. My only advice to you would be to set pars for those things, stock up on the stuff that you just absolutely cannot run out of. There's a good chance that storing like a year's worth of whatever supplies it is, it's not going to break the bank, because if you're talking about business cards or toner, I don't know. But again, there's not much to talk about in this section for people such as lawyers or accountants or consultants or whatever. But if you want some advice on inventory to give some advice to potential clients or anything like that, stick around for the rest of this. We've got two parts for the product-based businesses. So there's two different types of the product-based businesses. You've got people who stock product, and then you got people who don't stock product. So a lot of online retailers often don't actually stock product. That product's stored somewhere else at a different warehouse, or they're buying stuff on demand and shipping it as customers are buying it from them. For those types of businesses, you're going to require some sort of insight into that remote warehouse, whether it's you actually purchasing the product and storing it somewhere else, or if you're buying direct from another company and then just shipping it to customers, that's you want insight into their inventory as well. There's a lot of software solutions out there to aid in that real-time inventory management, and that's something that you should definitely look into if you don't have that already. And that method is great because you don't have to spend the money on inventory, but it can get more complicated because the product's never really in your hands. So you have to have a lot of processes in place, and you have to have a lot of trust that other people are going to do your job for you. Things that you're going to want to consider if you don't actually stock your own inventory is going to be quality control, because it's never in your hands. You don't actually get to touch or see it. You're not the one who's packaging it up and sending it out. So you need to make sure that that is being taken care of on the end of whoever is fulfilling those orders. You need to think about returns. Where do they go? Do they come to you and you deal with them? Do they go to the warehouse where they came from? Who handles them? How do you get notified? How does the customer know if their return was accepted, and all of that type of stuff? Another thing, if you've got a remote warehouse somewhere, like breakage, spoilage, theft, that's really, you're kind of up to, you're at the mercy of that warehouse. So something to think about there. In addition to that, you're going to have storage and fulfillment fees. So that warehouse is going to charge you to store the product. It's going to charge you every time that something's touched in that warehouse, it costs money, and you're going to get charged for that. That's it for stock businesses, for businesses who actually carry their own inventory. This could be raw materials that you use to create a finished product, or this could just be a finished product that you purchase and then resell. So there's a lot of software solutions out there for your own storage purposes. So if you've got a shed in your backyard or an actual physical building where you do all of your business, you've got the software solutions, but the nice thing is you can go out and, physically see and touch your product, count it yourself. One thing that I know from my time in procurement and in restaurants and all of that, what you think you have on hand often does not match what is actually on hand. So being able to go out there and count that stuff yourself is super helpful. You've got more control over quality and the customer touch points. So what's going out is up to your standards. But it's going to require that higher working capital. So you're going to have product in hand. You're going to have to pay for that stuff up front and store it somewhere, it's probably more labor intensive. So while you're not paying for a storage fee or a fulfillment fee, you're now paying somebody to fulfill that for you. You're paying for a warehouse to store that, like your own warehouse, whatever that is. And your storage fees might be higher because you are just your own business, whereas a warehouse, a fulfillment center will split those storage fees across all of their customers. You're just your own customer. You're one business. So things to consider. And both businesses, whether you're a non-stock or a stock business, you need to consider shipping and logistics costs. This is there's too much to cover, and it's too broad of a category to just cover in a few minutes, and logistics can get very complicated. But I'm just going to give you a list of things that you should consider when you're talking about shipping and logistics, because those are two different things. So you want to look into the costs, obviously, what it costs to ship, what it costs to manage the load, shipping times, how long does it take for product to get to your place, how long does it take to get to your customer, who's going to handle that. You want to start talking about convenience in terms of storage and things like that, because your time is worth something. So if you can pay somebody else to do, whatever it is, manage your loads, manage your shipping, it might be worth that. Look into deals. A lot of companies, for instance, I know that Shopify, for example, if you have their online store through them, you can get deals through them for shipping costs. So just look into that. You want to look into for like incoming and outgoing, depending on the size of your, whatever it is that you're shipping. Think about either hiring third-party carriers to do the logistics for you, or you could have your own dedicated logistics in-house. That's totally up to you, but it depends on your preference, and I mean, you need to just do a cost benefit analysis on that. Logistics, though, it's some place that you could potentially make a lot of money. You could lose a lot of money. And logistics is very complicated. I spent about 4 or 5 years working with logistics teams, and I'm still not 100% certain what it is, everything that goes into that. If you are bored and you can't sleep, just look up cube adjusted weight as a freight. It's a type of freight. And if you can figure that out, please call me, because I still to this day have no idea how that is calculated. Anyway, that's it for shipping logistics, inventory management. We did talk about shipping logistics. That's part one. We have part two. We're going to do best practices and talk a little math.